Uncle Daniel, KO Artist Sports, right here with Letty from Power 106,
Yes.
Brown Bag, all of that. It's great to finally meet you.
Likewise.
Yeah, and I know, man, you're a real boxing fan.
Yeah.
You're a real. I feel like
think you have to be. You have to be able. This sport is so much of that true grit, that I was talking about how primal it is, and at the deep down the core of all of us, we're that, like we're fighters, especially if you're Latino.
I mean, I think Jim Lampley said, at some point, life is a fight, so we all kind of go through it in our own way at some point, right?
Oh yeah.
We're here, this beautiful
Incredible,
mansion,
right?
look at this infinity pool, all that.
Welcome to my house.
Right?
Don't make it dirty. Yes.
Man, Ryan versus Tank,
Yeah.
it's a huge fight. It's been building for a very long time. Looking at the fight stylistically, right? Tank kind of downloads the information first couple rounds and then starts putting the pressure,
He
gets his
moves
guy out of there, right? But you can't get down on rounds with Ryan,
Right.
Because Ryan knows what he's doing. He's the kind of a class all of his own. Stylistically, how do you see it playing out, Lippy?
And I definitely see, and I've been seeing the All Access, how they're both kind of measuring each other out. I saw how even during the press conference that they had, and Tank kind of touched his chin a little bit, right? He was like, he has a soft chin. He's already, he's done so much of, and I think with Tank, he's not underestimating Ryan, which is beautiful, because you're Tank, right? You're knockout king. You've hit everybody. I think he said it's a 98% his average of knocking somebody out, right? So he's already doing that in the ring. He can get overconfident. He's not getting overconfident with Ryan. He can talk it like, oh yeah, he's nothing, but he's watching him. He's working out, watching Ryan's tape, seeing how slow or fast he is. Ryan's so fast. And I think that's an underrated skill. We go at who has the power punches. We go even when Tank was like, you're not an all-around fighter, all you got is that left, but it's like you can't defeat quickness. And even if all I have is that, I have that and I can move around, right? With Tank, it's going to be something where you're full of power, but you got to find the right moment to get that power punch in, that knockout punch in. And I don't think Ryan's going to let him get it easy. Both of them are not going to be easy fights for either of them. And I also think that's why it's so hard for us to pick as fans. I think we're rooting for this fighter or we're rooting for that fighter. I think with both, and even being in the Latino community, a lot of us just kind of we're used to having that Mexican style of fighting, and even just we're going for the person that's Hispanic. Here you can't call it. I have more Latino friends that are Tank fans than Ryan fans, but Ryan knows that. Ryan's been clowned his whole life. He's been bullied, he's been made fun of, he's a pretty boy, but he's always had that fight, and that's what I love about Ryan. He's like, all right, say how pretty I am. I'm pretty, but I can also hit really hard. And that's what I'm excited to see overall in the fight.
I feel like you have that, and this fight is a perfect example of it. You have that anticipation that all fight fans feel. There's nothing like it. You can't go to a Game 7 game or any. It's a fight.
Yes.
You see people, you see teams, you see family members, you see people are emotionally invested in a fight, and this fight especially, I feel, is one of those don't blink, because you'll never know when that moment happens.
I love that you said that. This is definitely a moment. I was talking about it earlier to my bosses at Power about the importance of this fight, being in Las Vegas, being in that moment. It's like saying there's Game 7 with the Celtics and the Lakers. We're part of history. We're part of sports history. This they're fighting for whoever's going to be the face of boxing. The next generation is here, right? We see everything that Canelo's done, but now it's our guy's turn now, right? But it's who's going to be that top one. It's cool being the top one, top two, right? We look at a Ryan or a Haney or a Tank, or we're seeing everybody kind of come in, but this will solidify who's that one. And everyone wants to be that one. And that's going to lead the legacy of boxing for at least the next 10 years.
Looking at the lightweight division, like you just mentioned, Haney, Shakur just got a KO win this weekend, look brilliant. Rank those, give me your top 4 lightweights in a row.
You're a bull. I'm very, see, I'm a mom. So I love all my children the same. I'm that girl. I want them all to win. I was even talking about this fight because I've gotten to know Ryan a little bit, and of course, big fan of Tank. And it's like, once you know them, it's like, could they both just knock each other out at the same time and then both win? But I talked to Ryan about, like, for me, I'm a hip hop head, right? So to me, it's like, who's the Kendrick, Cole, and Drake of this, right? And whereas I see, like, Ryan, he's like a Drake. Like, he's the pretty boy, he's out on the town, but he also has them hits, right? And I think, like, a Tank is like a Kendrick. He's grit, he's for the people, he doesn't care about the accolades. You guys have the rah, rah, rah. I'm just gonna knock people out in the ring, And I think Haney does a good job of being in the cut as he wants to be, but also performing when he needs to perform.
You gotta give me a rapper though. You gotta give me a Haney. Who's Haney?
For Cole. So like he'd be kind of like a good in between that, right? I think we always look at what Drake and what Kendrick are doing, but never underestimate Cole. I feel like this is Haney's time to watch, but I know he wants it too. I feel like he wants to be there. I don't want to say Shakur is like Big Sean because I feel like there's more of an amplification than that. And it's just, when I make it in terms of like rap, it's always 3 at the top. But I would push Shakur up there too. I think him and Haney are fighting for that 3rd spot of like who's really gonna be that person besides these two, that we're always seeing gonna go at it.
Good, that was a perfect
my metaphor is different
boxing
here,
analysis. I thought you might have stumbled in there, but you nailed it. You nailed it.
What about you? You rank it.
No.
See,
I'm doing the questions here.
I'm an interviewer, so I know. It's like, ooh, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Yeah. No, that was perfect. That was perfect. The only one that I might have made a difference on is Tank and Nipsey. I would have maybe gone a little more Nipsey, but Kendrick is perfect. Right
that's
there
an incredible comparison because even I spoke to Tank, and I know Nipsey. So I was telling Tank, when I talked to Nipsey, he talked about being an all-around rapper. He didn't just want to be the rapper that had all the lyrical stuff, or the rapper that's all business, or the rapper that's all street. He has all those bars, right? And it's different because a lot of times you could be like, oh, this is going to be the rapper that he raps to girls. This is going to be the one that's going to tell me business raps. This is going to be the one that talks about the streets. Nipsey did all of that, and he's like, that's the goal. The goal is to be an all-around player. The goal, like, I know that there's people that are specific for like 3-point shooting or specific from at the line, but I want to be everything, right? And when Tank was saying you're not an all-around fighter, that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, oh, you're seeing it like Nip, like you want to be able to not be touched. You want to check all the boxes off. I see where you're coming from with that. Yeah.
Yours was just as good. Last one, Letty, I want to get your take on. Hopefully we get the announcement that night, because that's the rumor, but it looks like boxing fans, hopefully, right, our hearts may be broken again, but I mean, it sounds like we might get Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford this summer. I'm kind of a little afraid to talk about it, right?
No, it has to happen. I remember we're even talking about like maybe Crawford might be facing somebody else that they announced is going to be facing. I think they were telling us that he might be facing, ¿cómo se llama? Rocha.
Right.
Yeah, and so I was like, when the Rocha was announced and it wasn't Crawford, I'm like, oh, they're setting it up for Spence. It's gonna happen. Yes, I'm right there with you. Like, I'm excited for it. I want it to happen, but we don't want to like put our hopes up. And that's gonna be
if it does happen, right?
Oh,
do you lean one way or the other? Because that's.
I can't because you just love the sport. These are the fights that we're getting that everybody was talking about, like, oh, everybody's just picking their fighters and they're not even they're cherry picking. Now they're like going head to head. But with that comes like now I don't have a set person in the race. But that's even more beautiful because now you're just watching as a fan, Now you're just watching to be, what is this fight gonna do? Where is it gonna take us, It's so hard to choose. I can't. I'm gonna throw it back to you, and you're not gonna answer it.
I say all the time. I mean, I've gone back and forth.
I love Crawford a lot, though. But Errol Spence, man.
He's a stud.
Yeah,
he's a stud.
Yeah. It was even gonna be hard for me to choose between Crawford and Rocha because I really like Rocha's a good guy. You root for him. You root for their story. And I think the more we get to know people's stories, it's like, damn, we want everybody to win because everybody that's a boxer comes from struggle, comes from loss or pain or grief, And like Rocha's story of him being overweight and then becoming this freaking phenom coming out of Santa Ana, like, we got to root for that.
Incredible. It's incredible. Letty, thank you so much for your time. Truly appreciate it.
Likewise.
You're a real boxing head.
Come on.
Real boxing head, certified.
Fuck with me, dog.
Certified.
Hey.
Letty, tell the fans where they could follow you and all the things you're up to.
So every morning I'm on air Power 106. So it's from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. with my crew, the Brown Bag, and we also do like our unfiltered podcast at 4 p.m. on YouTube. It's the Brown Bag Podcast. We're LA based. We're LA biased. You know, we're little Latinos just talking smack to each other, but also it's all love. So if you like that, if that's part of you, then you should be a part of us too.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.